A couple of years ago, I stated that it was going to be the year of the album reviewer. Whenever I'd said that, I kind of just expected it to invite a lot of people on board to review albums and really become part of the YouTube album reviewing community. What actually spawned from it was an entire heavy metal community that was able to spawn multiple platforms, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, anything. All of a sudden you saw a lot more in the way of metal memes. If you were friends with metalheads, you saw a lot of groups that were involved on Facebook that had metal in the title, or metal as one of its primary reasons for functioning and, being there. And as a result, here in 2014, the metal community definitely feels very strong. It definitely feels as though it has reached a brand new generation. Now, this is all well and good. However, we need to understand something. We need to understand the meaning of the word community. We need to understand what that entails. We need to understand what we need to do in order to preserve the metal community and not make it some sort of eyesore. One of the very first things that always come to mind whenever I think about how disputes in this community can easily be rectified, but also just as easily come about, is the whole genre, subgenre, is it metal, is it not metal classification. And this is something that I've touched base on with videos before, such as the is it metal or is it rock, that I will leave a link to in the description box. Now, while these are all questions that need to be asked, and these are all things that kind of help us, not so much pigeonhole the different bands into their respective genres, but this is something that comes up considering heavy metal by itself has a little bit of a reputation behind it. It has something that, kind of is its building block. It's supposed to be a little bit unconventional. It's not supposed to be something that is directly involved with the mainstream. It's kind of supposed to be its own little thing. Now, this is, of course, something that has had multiple different deviations, such as whenever heavy metal has accidentally, come into the mainstream and becomes one of the biggest forces on Earth, which is something that happened in the 1980s with the advent of thrash metal. This is something that spawned thrash metal being defeated ultimately by glam metal, and glam metal was ultimately defeated by grunge. They're all three kind of, principal genres of music that were based around a certain element of heaviness, though in varying tones, in varying ways, with grunge, of course, having a little bit more of the Melvins and different ideas like that, and the punk scene to really thank for what they were all about. But here in this metal community, we don't need to take personal the opinions of others. It's one thing that I've noticed a good bit. And I've noticed that there's been some disenfranchisement by some individuals. I've noticed that there has been a real need for a lot of people to kind of get away, to kind of step out. Almost as though this has become just another hapless community for us to bash people who were not true or fault. Instead, this is a community that is kind of becoming a bit elitist in the opinions of some individuals. And, well, that's a principal reason why I don't like to partake in a lot of these different groups, unless, of course, I'm posting a video link, unless, of course, I'm encouraging the sharing of a link, or encouraging just getting into album reviewing, or at least talking about music as a whole. Because of all that, however, I feel partially responsible for what has come. I feel partially responsible for arming each and every one of these individuals potentially with a voice, something that they probably had and would have expressed prior to seeing any of my videos, if they have at all. And the way in which it's being displayed certainly has a little bit to do, or at least reminds me a little bit of myself whenever I first started out, and was kind of very, very picky and choosy. Things that I didn't like, I made it very, very clear that I didn't like. I usually did that in long-winded, very swear-filled, and very, very upset and angry reviews and angry videos that really went along with one of my principal video influences. Now, this is something that we don't need to do with people. We don't need to do with individuals within the community. Now, there are some people that, of course, are always out there just to rabble-rouse. This is the internet, after all. We can't take the internet all of that seriously, because if we did, then god damn it, we would just be losers. While the people also who have all of this time on their hands need to recognize that they too are losers, so this is just a loser capital of the world. The fact that I even have to talk about this feels a little bit trite. It feels a little bit petty, and it feels as though I'm descending to like the 7th or 8th rung of nerdiness, but it's something that does need to be done. Individuals that are in this community need to recognize the fact that we are trying to foster the metal sound, the metal genre, the metal lifestyle to individuals. We're not trying to push it away. We're not trying to, look at a person and say, you don't fit the mold because you don't look right. You don't fit the mold because you don't fit the image. You don't fit the profile. That's something that happens in other genres. That's something that happens in other communities. That's something that happens, whenever you're in high school or college or something or whatever it might be, and you're walking into the lunchroom and you're looking at all the different tables and you see them populated by certain individuals, and you take a look and you think, well, hey, I know that person. Maybe I could sit with them, and you can't sit with them. Why? Because you don't fit their mold. You don't fit their profile. You don't fit their look. You don't fit what they're about. That scene, that idea, that little group, that's not you. And they're making that determination for you. You're not making that determination for yourself. The people that are in these groups that perhaps you have attacked or people have attacked, they all have opinions just like you do. And in most cases, the armament that you have whenever somebody bashes your opinion is the fact that, hey, opinions are like assholes, everyone has one, and so do I. Well, so do they. There's no reason why in many situations and in many, many different locations in time that we cannot agree to disagree. There is absolutely no reason why we can't somehow divide and conquer this. However, I do understand that this is difficult to do. I do understand that some people just will absolutely not see logic. There are some individuals that are not prepared to enter into some sort of conversation about this because of either age, because of their dedication to a certain group, because of what they feel is the right thing to do, what they feel is right and best for the artist. Maybe they have, their dick up the artist's ass, at least in a metaphoric position, you never know. And it's something where they're just not going to listen to reason. They think that you are attacking them through the bands that they listen to. Much like how Black Veil Brides fans and Blood on the Dance Floor fans felt that I was attacking them in a video this past June. They felt that I was attacking them, saying that because they listened to Black Veil Brides and Blood on the Dance Floor, that I was taking away something from them, something that saved their lives, made them better people, and helped them through perhaps some difficult moments in their lives, which makes me no better than half of these people that I'm perhaps talking about right now, at least in principle theory. The difference is simply put that in that video I was not only expressing an opinion, and I was using some harsh tones, don't get me wrong. If you want to watch the video, I'll also leave that in the description box. However, it was also the fact that there was a lot of truth that was involved. There was also a lot of opinion that was involved. It was also one man's take on exactly what these two groups have been doing that perhaps can be seen as a bit perplexing. It can be seen as a bit off. It can be seen as a negative interpretation or a negative reflection as to what the communities that they are supposedly in this day and age representing are all about. After all, whenever you have a band that's going on stage and being extremely, extremely, extremely full of themselves and just acting very unprofessionally, and basically instead of taking the high road and recognizing, hey, we won this award fair and square, we won the vote, and if you guys don't like that, that's unfortunate, but we're here because of you guys. We're here because of the fans. But instead they reacted negatively. Or such as Blood on the Dance Floor, who basically are housing two individuals that enjoy, to by their own credit, beating up people that were supposed haters. That's not what this is all about. That's not what this is all about. Whenever the artists are doing things like that, it reminds me of ICP and the Juggalos, how they'll go to bat and go to the death for ICP. At least they used to, especially in my area. There used to be a very, very large following of Juggalos that were willing to really go to extremes in order to not only showcase their love for the band, but also showcase the fact that anybody that opposes their opinion and anybody that opposes ICP and finds them to be a bad band or anything like that, a bad group, well, they were subject to whatever happened. They were subject to the verbal lambasting. They were perhaps subject to a physical conflict. And that's not the way that we want to do this. That's not how we want to accurately represent this heavy metal community. That's not how we accurately want to represent our opinions. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going for this let there be peace on earth bullshit. I really, really do thrive a little bit on conflict whenever it comes to this kind of thing. I like saying things that piss people off, principally because it's an opinion, and like I said before, all of us have it. And not to mention, at least whenever I present these opinions, I try to have some backing arguments. I try to have some prepared ideas that go along with it that kind of support my thought. And that's the thing that I really have been trying to stress for years and years and years to a lot of individuals. Not to mention, it's something that I hope that is stressed throughout some of these conversations in the future, whereas instead of it becoming a back and forth name-calling battle, which is very, very juvenile, it instead becomes, oh, you don't like my opinion? Well, tell me why. Oh, you don't like the way that I think about this, or you and I don't see eye to eye. Well, what's your side of things? That's what it really needs to be. The principal problem that I've seen for a long period of time is the fact that people are not afraid to have their opinion known, but they are afraid to back it up. They are very, very much doing things for a very monochrome reasoning. They're doing things for a very simplistic reasoning. They're doing things simply because they feel that this individual has attacked them, because this individual has talked poorly about somebody who they look up to, or somebody that they enjoy, at least their work. This is not what needs to be done. Instead, it needs to be something that's presented in a logical environment, something that has a little bit of a back and forth to it, something where there's an actual conversation with actual bullet points, you know. And I'm not saying that you need to present every single argument like it's some sort of school project. Absolutely not. But at least bring up something that makes some sense, you know. Whether or not somebody or some band or some group, some song has saved your life, that's not a good enough reason. You have to instead dig a little bit deeper and kind of understand that maybe they saved your life because of the meaning that's conveyed in the songs. Maybe it's more so than just the songwriting itself. Perhaps it's also how the songwriting has affected you on a particular night. Maybe you listen to a song and it instantly puts you in a good mood, and after that, it's something that happened. I had that happen with me. By accident, by Liquid Tension Experiment, for the longest time, has always been my happy place song, if you really want to call it that. It's the song that every single time I'm feeling pretty low and feeling like, you know, things are just shitty, I turn to that song and it does put a smile on my face. Do I really understand why? Can I explain it? No, not really. However, my argument is that one night I needed something that was a little bit happy, or, you know, one night I was feeling particularly low and that song came on and I noticed an immediate change in my personality. I noticed that I was started to, you know, feel a little bit of, you know, a better feeling. I started to feel like things were going to be better. You know, I turned the corner, so to speak. And, you know, it just became something that was associated with good feelings and turning the corner in my life, and something that psychologically has been able to help me through some negative times. Has it helped me through every negative time? Absolutely not. But more often than not, it definitely at least causes me to crack a smile, either that or, you know, make me feel that things aren't all that bad. Those are the kind of arguments that you need. It can't just be because you said so. That's something that your parents might use on you, and you might feel that, hey, this is the internet, nobody knows how old I am or who I am, I might as well use it on them, and they just have to fucking suck it up and take it like a bunch of fucking bitches. Well, no. It's not how it works. We want to share information in this community. We want to encourage people in this community. We want this community to grow not only based around numbers alone, but also based around the individuals that are within it. And we don't want to disassociate individuals who are metal fans, who are fans of the music, who have a deep understanding and a real, perhaps at some point, surreal knowledge, just because they seem annoying. That's the equivalent of kicking somebody out of your table at school simply because they are the nerdy one or the annoying one. Every group is going to have that. Every group is going to have multiples of those. Now, I'm not saying that we need to be accepting of everybody. I'm not saying that that is the proper thing to do. Principally because acceptance as a whole is a very difficult concept. And there are some people that you're just never going to gel with. You're never going to mesh with. It's never going to happen. Whenever you encounter these individuals, whenever you encounter these situations, sometimes it is best just to agree to disagree. Either that or just kind of avoid the situation in general. Don't provoke it as much. But if you do, like I said, present some actual legitimate arguments. Make this less about an individual hatred toward another person and more so about the topic at hand. We are talking about heavy metal after all. If somebody actually thinks that, you know, listening to a song from Bullet for My Valentine or Avenged Sevenfold or God forbid Papa Roach, you know, it actually makes them feel good, actually gives them a little bit of a feeling, a boost of morale, let it be. If you want to call them stupid, if you want to call them retarded for that, hey, that's your prerogative, but at the same time, you're just as stupid. Mainly because you haven't given them a good reason as to why it's stupid. Because in reality, until you present an argument, there's only one person that's stupid. And that's the person calling the other person stupid. Hopefully here in 2014, this metal community is able to grow by astronomical figures. I've been recognizing that there are a lot of great people out there that are really looking for a community to help them express their heavy metal love. I also know that there's a lot of people that distance themselves from perhaps Facebook groups or larger collectives based around the fact that there seems to be a lot of this juvenile infighting going on over such simple things as sub-genre classification, or something much larger as to, what's the best thrash metal album of all time. These are things that can turn some people off. So let's present some better arguments, and overall, let's have fun with this. Remember, music is a lifestyle, don't get me wrong, but music is also supposed to be fun. It's supposed to bring us joy. It's supposed to really be the one thing in this world that we cannot fully explain. The one thing that gives us all the feelings that we experience without us really understanding why. And we need to treat it with respect, just as we need to give individuals a mortal amount of respect. Till, of course, they're, do something stupid. Thanks, guys. Never thought I was going to have to make a video like this. But if you have made it to the end of this video, post in the comments some of your experiences with heavy metal communities on the web, whether it be through a website, through Facebook, through Twitter, through whatever it might be. Was it a good one? Was it a bad one? Is it one that you would recommend to others? I'll talk to you guys later.